Okay, those of you who know, I've got a Stabby. So this is a Stabicraft 2400 cutting board, and the sides of the bait table come up to there, finish at that edge there, and that sort of protrudes a little bit, and then the bait tank, live bait tank, is flush with that edge there, and then it comes up the aluminium, so it's flush along that edge. What a lot of guys, what we've found is water splashes, because the silicone doesn't stick to this stuff. What happens is the water splashes underneath and creeps up the edges, and even though there's a bead of silicone along there, it comes in between the silicone and the water, silicone and the cutting board, and it fills up the cutting board, and it splashes forward and it splashes underneath. And you know, you come and sit in this corner here when you're fishing, or that corner there when you're fishing, and you lean up against the cutting board, the edge here, and next thing you know, you're all wet. So it's a bit of annoying. So one of the other guys, Veet's, done a bit of a mod, and now I've done something very similar as well. So what I've done is I've taken this off, and I have routed a groove all the way around. So the idea behind that groove is it sits on the bait table. So that line there is the top lip of the bait table, and then that's the outside edge. So that groove sits between the screw holes, and the bait table. So imagine the bait table then comes like this if it's up, because it's upside down. So what will happen is I'll fill that up with a bead, so that silicone doesn't have any problems sticking to the bait table, the aluminium and the paintwork, but it does not stick to that. So the whole idea is to put a film of silicone on the bait table, and then that'll squish into this groove, making a O-ring as such. So it won't stick in there probably, but what will happen is it'll create an O-ring and like an S-bend, and it should eliminate all the water. What I've also done is across the back there, I've routed a groove. So the bait table starts about there. So that groove is within the live bait tank. So that's going to be always cop and splash of water. And these little grooves here that you see, what they're going to be doing is the water's going to be collecting in this channel, and it's going to be funneling out into these little grooves. And across the back of the bait board on the 2400s, we have a little gutter, and it's got little weep holes along that gutter, along where the rod holders are, and that will flush any blood and guts that are on that back board. It would automatically flush off out to the back. It creates like a secondary, more weep holes, I suppose, when you're underway for water to flush out. Not that the cutting board needs it, or the live bait tank needs it, but all that's going to do is create weep holes. I'm not going to silicone across the back at all. So if any water leaks between the cutting board and the bait board, that's fine, but just in case it doesn't, or you know, not enough, those weep holes there are going to flood the back of the cutting board, that channel, allowing water to flush off and rinse out the back. So it's going to be self-cleaning that gutter across the back. Anyway, we'll put it back in and see how it all comes together. Alright, so there we've got that bead of silicone. So it's inside that groove, and it's overflowing. So when that hits the top of that, it should overflow a little bit either way. That's that back opening, that's going to be open, so that'll sit in that gutter, and it'll overflow into that gutter any water. So that's what it looks like. Alright, let's get it together and see how she comes out. Okay, so this is the finished product. There's a nice little bead of silicone across the top, just in case any does make it up under the seal, past the rebate, and up the top. It's like a secondary or third form of waterproofing across there. The factory one does do that. So the factory Stabicraft one has that only. So there's a bead across there and a bead across the front. That's all Stabicraft do from factory. So I've redone that. So that's come up really nice. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but that's the bead on the inside. I'm sure it's not the prettiest at some spots, but all it's going to do is hold back that water. So, and I don't know if you can see that. That's where I said I left that rebate, so that there's a bit of a gap that will send water to that little channel across there. That way it'll be auto cleaning, so water comes out from the little rebates just there every so often, and then keep water sloshing up there and washing out, won't come back onto the cutting board, and it'll just drain out towards the back. So that's it. So hopefully that's visible. Yeah, and no silicone there, that's the rebate. Probably see better like that. Alright, just put it to the test now, make sure it all works. We'll go out next week. Cheers.